You know what? While you say that, I'm going to go ahead and record this just in case.
Got it.
So
Yeah, mine just asked me if I was okay with that. It said randomly popped up.
Are you going to let this happen? Is this okay?
So Chris, we got to hang out in Tampa recently.
Yeah, what a good time.
Did you see our episode where we talked about that train wreck?
No, I didn't. Since I've been back, my back's been so out, so I've literally just been mentally just down. And then I'm in the middle of adding to our studio, so I've been kind of back on trying to get the shop rolling. And I seen you guys had it, and I was like, damn, I missed it. And I kept saying every night I'm gonna get home and do it. And it's like midnight. I'm like trying to post. I'm doing all the social media posts for Indie Tattoo Expo, and I'm making the frames up. My daughter's helping make some of the frames, but I'm like, you can't depend on the artist to send them to you. So I'm having to go through and just screenshot people's stuff and then make these little, if you've seen how we've been posting them lately. So yeah, I haven't had time to really do anything I want to do since we've been back from camp. But
oh, that's all the stuff you want to do. Don't lie to me, buddy. Don't lie to me. It's
that's what kind of worked out with Tampa though, because it turned out to be obviously a total shit show. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. But because I was in such pain anyway, and I just went down there because I promised him I'd be there, so I'd be there. And you seen me, I was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
But
poor Chris was on a cane after he got his back all stoved up driving down there.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was actually a little messed up before I got there. By the time I got there, I couldn't walk without the cane all weekend, and it was pretty painful. But I just turned it into a little mini vacation, which I probably needed. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you gotta.
Yeah. So I got back and just been on the grind since then. But how was the episode? Who'd you have on there talking with you about it?
We had Brian and Jen join us. So the clients that Derb and I were working on, so they got to recant everything right there with us.
It was the most detailed moment by moment episode I've ever gone through.
Yeah, it was. Like, it took us like a solid 2.5 hours to go through like event.
But wait, there's more.
Brian would be like,
believe. But wait, there's more.
Brian was like, Fawn, you forgot about this. I was like, hold on, I'm still only on Friday.
No, it's in the notes. Just wait, we'll get there.
Well, that's what's cool is to have their perspective, because the client's perspective is what's important too. I think sometimes that now that tattoo artists became such divas, that gets forgotten. And that was when I first spoke with you and you told me about tattoo collecting 101. That was what interested me, because you were like, yeah, we're trying to teach each other how to connect with clients and artists, connect with each other versus having that wall up. So having their perspective and seeing it, a lot of people know me to be slightly hot-headed, so they're probably like, oh, that's just Chris getting pissed. But no, I was just finally standing up, where somebody should have did that last year, like I did, and went live and got shitty about it immediately and kind of made it a big deal. And that would have saved myself and Derb and a lot. Like, my daughter went down there, got a babysitter, went down there, missed a week of work here. So realistically, not that I'm a millionaire or nothing, but I can somewhat foot the bill on it. It cost me, to get there and get screwed like that. But, here's my daughter, who's a 1-year tattoo artist, and she's got, $1,000, $1,500 in it with appointments scheduled when we got there, because I have a large client base in Tampa. And now we're telling our appointments we can't tattoo them. You know what I mean? So people like that, it cost them a lot of money.
You weren't able to tattoo at all?
No. Yeah, when I got there, so what happened with me is I got there on Thursday, and of course, he's trying to be impressive to me when I first get there. So he's like, oh yeah, and I see him hiding from Sarah from World Famous. He's kind of hiding. She looks at me, and I can just tell, like, oh shit, what am I walking up on? And he's sitting in his car, which he should be out handling stuff, and he says, man, last year my pipe and drape guy, he's like, my pipe and drape guy like left on the day of, and now this year my stuff's on a train. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I've been, knowing how I would have done had I ordered stuff. First of all, I wouldn't order it in March. I would have ordered it in January. Had I not had possession of that 2 weeks prior to my event, I would have had a backup plan of some rented. Like, that's how I think. So even my best friend, he's like, this ain't happening. My daughter's like, this ain't happening. I'm like, it's Thursday. Maybe he's just a little behind. I'm going to do the benefit of that.
Look,
you know what I mean?
Chris, when we got there, we looked around and I was like, it's 8:30. The doors open at noon. Like,
Oh, you got there Friday though. I'm there Thursday.
No.
I'm really getting it out.
Thursday night. We got there
Oh,
Thursday
you got
night.
there. Okay, so I must have
But,
just left.
So we went back to the hotel, and I'm like, the optimist in me is like, there's 16 hours. Like, a lot can happen in 16 hours. Like, I've had teams that have done incredible things in 16 hours. I've seen like
crazy. Well, that was a big thing. I noticed he had no team. So he had no team, I noticed, after a while.
Well,
Jeez.
I hope that maybe the team was just third shift and they were going to show up. I was trying to be optimistic. I was like,
It was
maybe,
first day. They all had to get off
No,
work first.
That's I showed up
It didn't
Friday
happen.
morning early because I got
Didn't
there
happen.
Thursday. I'm being optimistic like you. I'm kind of like, man, it's Thursday. When I got there, now it's Thursday at like 3:00 because he said you could come at 2. So I'm like, okay, it's Thursday at 3. Maybe he's going to pull it off, although the space is completely empty. And he tells me where my spot's at. And, Eric Rock is sitting up where his spot is right there from, he's a Hunts Vegas Tattoo Expo producer.
Mhm.
And he's sitting up and he's one of my buddies. And Jameson says, you're right across from him, shows me my spot. And I'm like, cool. Well, I'm not going to sit my stuff in the middle of an open floor space. You know what I mean? Like, there's vehicles driving around in here and shit. And
There were
So
literal vehicles inside the space.
so
Wow.
I'm like, no big deal. I'm going to actually go. Like, I'm like Fawn, and Jason's like, it's not happening. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure it will. Well, midnight, Rock texted me and he was like, hey, man, did you move your space? And I'm like, no, I didn't even bring my shit in. He's like, yeah, somebody else is set up there. So he gave my space to somebody else overnight.
Jeez.
So I show up Friday morning to nothing. Like, hey, there's no space for you. And he's nowhere to be found. He's not answering messages. I started messaging him as soon as Rock messaged me Thursday night. And I think it was like 2:30 when he called everybody to the stage to get paperwork. And even though I'm crippled, I just luckily was sitting in the right spot to where I'm the first guy to the stage, And I'm like, fuck the paperwork. Where is my booth? You know what I mean? And he's like, hold on, and just bolts off the stage.
Oh, jeez.
So
Well,
Crispy and Chris tracks him down.
Well, before that even happened, that's what he was when I went back to, he tried to defend the way I was acting, like saying that was bullshit. Because when he takes off the stage, when I turn around, now he's already called everybody to the stage. So they're now standing behind me. So I proceed to tell them how this fucking show was a joke. And if you stayed and supported it, I question your integrity. And, I was pretty thorough about how shitty the show was going to the entire, now every artist is now standing at the stage because they came up there because he called them up there. And now I'm the only one there because he bolts off the damn stage. So then he takes off and they all walk away and I walk around the stage because I knew he couldn't have went too far. And I find him behind the stage. And then that's where I had to go up and confront him and kind of let him know, like, and I wasn't mad about like, fuck it. I mean, it's Tampa. I wasn't really mad about like the boot thing. I was mad about like, I'm huge on how you represent tattooing. You know what I mean? Like, break up with my daughter, that's fine. You know what I mean? Slap my daughter, I'm fucking kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was. You know what I mean? It was like, dude, if you didn't even invite me or whatever, no big deal. But like, if you oversold booths and you just tell me that, but you got a nice show put together, I'll hang out as just a judge or something. You know what I mean? I'm easy going, dude, realistically. Yeah. But
he was very disrespectful. He really was. Like there were some legends in the building and he was just disrespectful to like when it's somebody that like I'm fangirling over and he's just talking to them like they're like, I wouldn't talk to my dog the way that he was talking to some of these people that I like admire.
Or just ignoring them. I mean, he ignored Gil Monty, he ignored Tyler Knowles. He didn't have a booth for Tyler. I mean,
Gil hung out in our booth all weekend. He didn't have a booth for Gil either.
Gil's been tattooing in Florida. He's like, one of the founders of Florida getting legal tattooing. He's been tattooing since the 50s in Florida. And here you are just like, you tell him you got a booth and you use his name and his picture on Instagram to be cool. And then now he's walking in, he's sitting there in someone else's booth like, hey, he's like, this is kind of embarrassing for me. Like he was sitting over in the corner basically, and I started talking to him and I said, Durb's over here. And he was like, he jumped up and was like, let's get over there.
Nice.
That ended up being a great weekend for us, like our collective group. We had a good weekend. We got to hang out with Gil. We got to hang out with his wife, Gemma. We got to see the Clydesdale horses. That was the highlight of the weekend, really, outside of like hanging out at the casino.
But we,
Well,
Yeah.
It was nice for me because, you know, Indy's only in its second year, and I think we did a great job last year. But you know, just getting that insight of like, I've never seen something that terrible, and I've been tattooing and going to tattoo expos since, you know, late 80s, early 90s. So
wow.
Well, it's funny, as we were
expos, and I've never seen something that unorganized. So it was kind of, in a way, helpful, you know, like Derb said, you know, that brings light to the question of like who and what we should be supporting. And even, you know, because some of these guys go do it because they can, but I mean, at the same time, like there's a point where there's a value that you're taking if you go do these shows. And I'm not saying there could be a guy who, you know, say someone like Don, you're not a tattoo artist, are you, Don? No. So you see, I mean, there's a guy who could be a collector, or like Brandon, who really loves it and has invested time and money, and, you know, they put a lot into tattooing that could be a good producer and stuff in. But that's got to be some real stability, knowing for what you impacted the industry before you're allowed to touch something so sacred as a con. I feel like.
Well, as Derb and I were talking with like other artists and stuff that were attending, and other, you know, as we stand around and kind of gossip as we do, your name came up a lot because, like, as you were planning your show, you went around the country and you went to as many conventions as you could to learn and to just see what other people are doing and to see like what's possible and see what works and what doesn't work. And then on top of that, you're so passionate about tattooing. Like you eat, sleep, and breathe tattooing, where this guy's not a tattooer. It doesn't look like maybe he has some tattooer friends, but he's not like part of this machine that we're all like.
Well, and that's what I think people kind of miss, because, you know, some people, you know, think, like I tell people, I'm known to be the most professional and the most violent probably in my little city, as far as Chris is the most professional, but man, it's not violence, it's passion, like you say, you know what I mean? And if you're disrespecting something I'm passionate about, I can't help but to just get overwhelmed with, like, my reaction is to teach you a lesson, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, that's because nobody does that anymore. And it's one of those that with the generation of not being able to raise your voice and not being able to stand your ground without offending somebody or being a crime or someone trying to call the cops because you got loud and you verbally assaulted me.
Yeah. And that's
it's hard. It's hard to stand up.
People are like, why you stick around for if you ain't got a booth? I'm like, I'm going to find this motherfucker. Somebody's got to say something to him. I'm not just leaving. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? But, you know, that was thinking all the people that I made sure I focused on and that I, you know, made sure that they were on my website or they were, you know, done things with me. I made sure that when they got to Indy, they had stuff they were taken care of. You know, when Derb showed up in the room, it wasn't just Derb's room. There was things in there. And, you know, when Chris and Maybell showed up, I mean, there was things for, you know, people that were coming and I, you know, used their platform to help my platform take off, like this guy was doing. When they showed up, they were taken care of. You know what I mean? Like, and free that, you know, I have to give a lot of credit to my team, though. That's the thing, like, I've seen missing from him, because he didn't ever have somebody beside him trying to help figure it out. And, you know, I have Brittany, I have Trina does all the emailing. Trina keeps everything so in line that pre the show, Trina had a map for everything. Brittany had been posting everybody's stuff, so she knew everybody and what was supposed to be in places. Nice. My girlfriend is, you know, with me daily, helping me do things that's related to it. So, and my kids had all stepped in. My daughter, she was, you know, right there, you know, just doing everything that needed done. So I kind of have that team and foundation, which kept that all from getting out of hand. But I mean, you can't use people's platform to get you somewhere and then do that. And that's what people are doing with tattooing at this point now. You know, I mean, even major corporations, even, you know what I mean?
It's we've got such a special industry because there's just so much more to it. And, you know, like the guy that organized the Tampa show, he could be a great club promoter. He could be a great event promoter. Like, you know, there were a lot of things that maybe would have worked well in another setting. I won't be a liar.
I think saying that is giving credit where it's not due. In the society, kind of back to what we were saying earlier. No, be realistic. If he couldn't even slightly put that together, as unorganized and unprofessional as he was, he would not be a good club promoter neither. He's a fucking bullshitter and a liar. And that never works good for no matter what. You can't give somebody the what ifs. If they've proven what they are, you got to call them what they are off the go. So I won't agree with that statement.
Well, the point that I was making is
you
just
know,
that like our community has so many special needs, which is why you have to be a part of the community. If not an artist, you've got to be a passionate collector. If you're not one of those two things, you're not going to understand the like subtle special needs that we have. Like just to start off with.
This is going to show you his understanding of tattooing.
Oh, geez.
This is what he sent me afterward, you know. So after he had blocked me from the pages, his apology comes through on Wednesday morning. Says, I do apologize for not handling the situation better. I should have asked you to hold 1 second, and I got you. That was my bad. No, this is better though. This gets better.
Oh,
so then so that was at 9 o'clock Wednesday morning. So Thursday morning, he texts me at 9 o'clock. Would you shop apprentice me like a week long? Open and close, work me free. I'll come for a week, get a room, and y'all work the hell out of me. I want to learn. I love the industry.
A week?
I really enjoy the artist
and
the history.
a week.
So here's my response, because both of them
pretty disrespectful.
Well, first of all, where's the apology? Like, hey, bro, I'll send you at least half the $3,000 you spent on travel. You know what I mean? But
well, it sounds like the show was such a bust. He probably didn't have it to give back.
No, he didn't. But then they both came through. They both came through at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 2 separate mornings, right? So I'm like, this dude's like drunk or on drugs at 9 o'clock in the morning. I hate to say it, but this is the reality, because I've been around those people and I seen him at the expo sweating like a motherfucker. So I text him back and I'm like, are you drunk when you send these messages? I was like, serious question. Like, not even trying to fuck with him. Like, are you seriously drunk the way you're if you read them, it's like some illiterate person sent them in the first place. And I'm the worst spelling person. That's why I have people who do that for me. You know?
I pay someone for that.
Yeah, no shit, you know, hell, spell correct fucking keeps you from sounding that stupid. You have to go back. You got to go back and force your phone not to let you sound correct, you know? So I'm like, you know, I mean, I was like, told him something about his apology and everything. He was like, oh, I didn't want to come and learn how to tattoo. I just want to learn about you.
What?
Huh.
Just want to learn about you.
Okay.
Well, I'll
That's
tell you what
kinda
you don't
creepy.
know about me is you're lucky that I was on a cane that weekend, or I'd have got arrested in Tampa because I'd have kicked his ass that day. So I'm kind of glad that I was a little bit.
Instead of it was almost me that got arrested. But turns out we didn't even know about the U-Haul situation. That was crazy.
I love that they were worried about what time she stopped tattooing more than the hooker in the parking lot.
I mean, come on, Fawn, don't be breaking the rules, man.
Yeah, I'm a rebel. You know me.
said 11.
And I'm like, it's 10:58.
It's like set your watch correctly.
Let's switch gears, because we spent a whole show comparing notes of the awesomeness that was Tampa.
Well, I was going to segue right into, so after Tampa,
Beautiful.
we went to one of the Villain Arts shows up in Cleveland.
Nice. How was that? I missed that too.
It was good. I only went up for Friday.
I missed it.
Yeah, I only went up for Friday, so I got a little bit of footage of the competitions that were going on. I tried to walk through all of the aisles and like get a good, you know how I like to just like pan up and down and get all of the like who's working on what, and who's working with what. I'll get their setups, I'll get the tattoos they're doing, you know, all of those eye candy things. So while I was in Cleveland, I was up by the stage and I was watching either competitions that were going on, or maybe it was when Captain and Maybell were performing, but I was up there and I was messing with my cameras. And while I was
Maybell's
standing
birthday
there,
today, so happy birthday to Maybell.
oh, well, happy birthday, Maybell. But while I was standing up there, Derb came up behind me, and while I was like fussing around with my cameras and playing with settings and what have you, and like my mind was in another place, Don came over and introduced himself to Derb. So I was just like half eavesdropping while I was like in technology mode. And like I saw him hand Derb his card as he walked away. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll get his information later. So after I got home, I started pestering Don, begging him to join us on the show. So
Well,
I
I'm
think
kind of
Don
bummed out
has-
because I researched people, but I didn't get a chance to because today I've just been so busy, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my meeting to be done, and it lasted a couple hours longer than normal. But I usually look in to find out more about who Don was before I get on here. Like I've
It's
seen
better
his face.
that way.
but I
That way
didn't-
we get
I
a
didn't
raw,
know.
natural reaction of what you actually think.
Yep.
Man, those
Authentic.
guys know to censor me a little bit.
No.
Nah.
We got a 30-second delay. I
We hope.
think.
Maybe.
I
We got a delay.
don't know if we've ever tested that theory.
So where are you
tell us a
from?
little bit about yourself and where you're from and what your mission is?
My name is Don Caskey. I'm from the Toledo, Ohio area. A couple of years ago, well, actually December 19, I was diagnosed with terminal kidney cancer. And I felt like crap, weighed about 100 pounds less than I do now, actually.
Wow.
Took one of my kidneys out, and shortly after I started feeling better, but unfortunately it's in my lymph nodes, so it's going to take me some time. But when I started feeling better, I joined the gym. Well, then COVID hit, everything shut down. So I was stuck at home doing 2.5 more months of doing nothing. Well, when COVID opened up a little bit in Ohio, I did two things. I went back to the gym, and I've gained 100 pounds in the last year and a half.
Nice.
Good.
And
Good for
I
you.
went and got my 5th tattoo.
Nice.
And that was this pine tree right here. And it says, my cancer ribbon on it says, I'm still standing. And it reminds me every day that I'm not gonna let this cancer take me easy. So a couple months later, I'm sitting on my son's back patio, and I was looking down at that tattoo, and I said, the only thing I can take with me when I pass away is memories. I mean, can't take my car, can't take anything else. So I started asking random strangers if they wanted to match tattoos with me. Well, at first people thought I was batshit crazy, which I totally understand. I mean, I don't know you. Why do I get a tattoo with you?
Right.
I just kept talking about it. And on August 23rd of 2020, I got that butterfly right there with some girl I met like a week or so earlier.
Mhm.
And I put it on Facebook, just kept talking about it. Well, little by little, I went from what I thought would be 10 or 20 people getting tattoos with. Well, in 10 months, I had 419 people
Wow.
in 6 countries and 3
Awesome.
continents getting matching tattoos.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That is super awesome. And that's the reason I think tattooing and tattoo artists need to remember it's not really about us it is us as a good fair line, because it's moments, like people give you a moment in your life, you know what I mean? And that's like at our studio, we talked about that. Don't just give somebody a tattoo, give them a moment. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. You're the exact example of what I'm talking about, man. And thank you I'm glad that it's been something that's you've been able to build like that.
It's gotten way bigger than me by far. Like I said, I never expected this many people, but to have somebody reach out to you from Australia or Kenya or South Africa or whatever on a daily basis is probably the most humbling feeling I ever had in my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, are these people just getting the same tattoo as you, or are they coming to meet you, or are you traveling? Or
The ones overseas, because of COVID, I wasn't able to actually travel to. So it's kind of like Chris here, like a Zoom meeting type thing.
right?
But I've been in 27 states throughout the United States.
It's amazing.
Getting matching tattoos where it's kind of like post online where I'm at, and random strangers come to meet me.
That's amazing.
Awesome, man. That's so awesome. It's kind of like our get what you get machine, but better. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, 100%.
Well,
But they're all
there's those
matching. And I of the matching tattoos, I bet you 390 out of the 419, I've got their name on me and my name's on them.
Wow.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool.
So like got the tattoo plus their name.
Yep.
Is that
So
what-
you're on tattoo 420?
I'm working on it right now. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man, you
That's
gotta
next
get it.
week.
Vaughn, what's going on? One of you two need to get that tattoo with me.
Ben, Ben,
Damn it, I
Don.
need to be there, man.
So
What do you want me
Don's
to
got
get
all these
tattooed
little
on?
stars and dots. What if we just do the tiniest little weed leaf somewhere as the 420th? And you can get a matching weed leaf somewhere and I'll get a matching tiny weed leaf.
Anywhere near my decision. As I understand it, do you even smoke?
I don't. I haven't
So
smoked
that's
anything
not
for
something
years,
I
but-
don't think you
But
would
it could
want to
just be like a
tattoo on
tiny
you.
little hidden in there, just like one of the
No,
other
I'm
stars.
I'm not pushing weed
You're not
while
down
I'm
with it?
smoking.
Just to
It's not-
commemorate.
It's not fair. It's not
Well, actually, when I started getting a little more notoriety and realized people around the world were starting to reach out to me, I started a nonprofit foundation. And I
Oh,
call it
that's awesome.
Stranger Inc. And
Nice.
I, in the process of raising money to help pay for funerals of terminally ill people.
Mhm.
And when I got to 419, and that was June of last year,
Okay.
I realized that a lot of people wanted to be 420. So I started raffling off the position to be number 420.
Amazing.
And I'm actually drawing the raffle this coming week on 420.
Nice. That's excellent.
Are you set up at a
And-
shop
and
ready to
on
go
board-
when it happens?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Nice.
I know if they live someplace, 'cause they're all around the world.
Right.
Mhm.
Wherever they're at, that's where I'm traveling next.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Well,
super cool.
that's a cool thing to wait for.
Yeah.
Let's not take that idea away from everybody. But it would have been cool, man.
Yeah,
But it would have been
It
cool.
would have been cool. Come back and we'll do 421.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. There you go.
it's still pretty awesome though. I mean, just that you've turned tattooing in such a journey like that. And sometimes I even try to tell people when we look back at old crappy tattoos or just older tattoos that we have ourselves or something. It's like, yeah, the tattoo might not be the greatest, but you look back at that and be like, I remember, when we were out in the, Texas and this, blah, blah, blah. And so it's amazing that in such a short period of time, you've almost been able to string together like a lifetime of missed connection between people because you've connected with people across the world just through tattooing. And that is why I think I get emotional and passionate about it, because I think tattooing is that magical. Like you've connected with people around the world by something as simple as saying, hey, I'll get a matching tattoo with you. And that's that great that people are like,
Let's share an experience.
and it's just, human connection is missing on that level because that's a deep connection even across the country, So
Yeah.
and somebody cared, and it shows you how many people really care about your journey, because some of them are doing it also because it's energy, it's good energy towards Don and how he wants to feel.
Well, I'm
That's
sure a
fine.
lot of these people have very similar or aligning stories or family members or backstories that are important to them as well. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've had people get them for very terrible reasons. I mean, as far as, they were going through awful things. Like I had a tattoo I got with a girl down in Ocala, Florida, and she wanted to get the scales of justice because she had a baby girl that she had after she was raped.
she's
And her father was trying to get visitation rights for her. He took it through court, actually wanted to get visitation rights, then he molested his 3-year-old daughter.
oh jeez.
So she wanted to get that tattoo to get her to fight to get in the criminal justice system to change the laws.
Wow.
But in the same
That's
aspect,
insane.
I
It's
had
so
a
neat to hear hiring tattooing is for different people on so many different levels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but in the same aspect, I was in Dayton, Ohio, and I had this girl reach out to me on Facebook, said, hey, come on to Dayton, stay at my house. We'll go to tattoos. This is cool. So I went to this little shop in Dayton. And the first day, I think I got like 10 or 12 tattoos with random people was coming in.
Wow.
Well, I
Wow,
was there the
that's
next day, and this girl comes running in. She says, hey, you got tattooed with my best friend and her husband yesterday. I want to get one with you too. I said, awesome. I said, what do you want? She says, I want a camel on my big toe for camel toe. I said, that's funny and all this, but I really don't want a camel toe.
Right. That's something I've avoided my whole
Yeah.
life. Let's keep
But-
that trend.
But jokingly, she instantly says, how about fun zone
Get
around
too
my
lonely,
asshole?
that might work out.
But she instantly said, how about fun zone around my asshole? So she got Don's fun zone tattooed around her asshole.
And these are matching tattoos. So you
Well, I got on my
Don's-
ass cheek. It's not the same spot, but it's the same tattoo.
That's funny. That's funny. Does it say
Yeah, well,
Don's
it says
fun zone?
K- K's fun zone.
Yeah, I told you that camel toe might come in handy.
There you go. There you go. That's got to be fun though, and what a unique way to have an instant experience and get that bond with somebody. We've talked several times about that connection between artist and tattooer, about the time it takes and the effort you put into receiving and giving that tattoo, and now you're multiplying that over other individuals and bringing them in all into the same story, and that's touching. It's touching. It's cool to see somebody that's taking the time to reach out like that, especially in the world that we live in, when everybody's so passive, for lack of a better term, and just kind of lets the world drift by them.
A lot of
I
people
think
do,
it
but
also shows how much people are connected. If you look into deep worlds like the tattoo world, I think that shows. I mean, because in most worlds, people are passive, but you jumped into a society of, tattooing where they support and love one another and really back each other up. And you're a prime example of that, because most people would be passive, and then how many people joined in with you is just insane. I mean, that's beautiful.
oh, it is. I mean, I've had, I said 419 people, but probably 40 of them was the first tattoo they ever got in their life.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep.
So they're willing to start their journey with you. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Do you stay in contact with a lot of these people? I have friends that still on Facebook and stuff like that with them, or?
As best as I can. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, 419 people. It's a lot.
yeah.
To kind of
I mean, like,
with.
if I see their birthday pop up on Facebook, I'll send them a happy birthday. Some of them will actually talk to. I've went back and visited some after, getting a tattoo with them. I do the best I can, but it's almost impossible to keep up with all of them on a daily
for
basis.
sure. For sure.
Well, what you need to do though for your nonprofit organization, because I always want to talk about marketing, you need to take and put a book together of like your tattoos and their tattoos, and maybe like if they have some of their artists and their experience, and man, that'd be a fucking good selling book. Because you got a picture of you getting the tattoo and your artist, and then them in Australia getting the tattoo and their artist or something, and the variations of the tattoos along with the stories and what number it is and stuff like that. That'd be a pretty. That'd be a hot book.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a whole written down and carry around.
I'm interested.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that you're thinking of doing stuff and you're trying to keep your nonprofit going. At one point, you're gonna run out of skin, and a way to actually tenfolds that money coming into your organization would be a good idea like that.
Well, I'd love to. I mean, the big thing I got is not enough time to do everything I need to do.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
When my social media started blowing up, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'll have a few thousand messages or notifications.
Wow. Isn't it crazy?
And it's just, I feel obligated to try to keep track of those as much as I can. And I do the best to respond to as many of them as I can. Some slip through the cracks, but I could really use somebody that's traveling around me around the country, just taking all my PR work and doing all the things I need them to do. Hey, you call this person, that person.
So you're a tattoo collector who needs a manager.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I mean, he's turned his collection into an extraordinary example of how amazing tattooing is. So, I mean, he's not just a tattoo collector. And I think, you're on another level of tattoo collecting, and you've turned it into showing people how extraordinary tattooing is. So you do need a manager. And I'll tell you, man, I tell people the reason my business took off and the reason Indie Tattoo Expo is smooth is Trina. She run here. My business manager is the shit. You know what I mean? Like, she got it going, man. Like, I would be so lost. Hire people, do what they do and do what you do. You know what I mean? I'm good at talking to people and shit. Don't get me. I ain't keeping track of nothing. I
don't ever want to be in charge.
Yeah, I like being in charge enough to know that I can put somebody else in charge of making sure shit is done on time. And like you said,
delegation.
And you have to and just start to learn too, like you're not obligated to respond to everybody, and it's appreciated, and it's a good example. But damn, man, like, we were talking the other day, me and Trina, and just talking about like tattoo artists trying to get them to pay their booth fees for the expo and get their paperwork in. And it's like, sometimes it's like, damn, man, do these guys check their email? But I'm like, I know you're getting upset, Trina, but pre you, I was that guy. I mean, because people don't think about, like, our clients don't think we're answering the emails, but let's take the emails out of the equation. You're tattooing, you're designing for the tattoo, you're ordering the equipment for your tattoo, you're scheduling the appointments. You know what I mean? There's so many jobs that you're doing and for what we're charging. Charge more if you have to. I mean, it's worth it. Telling your clients, hey, it's $25 more an hour because I hired an assistant. Bet you they love it when their ass gets a call back right away.
When their
might
schedule
get you
goes
first.
smooth.
Yeah, hell yeah. When I come back after Indy, my price is going up a little bit. One, because our product has went up, with just to buy our gloves has doubled in cost since COVID. And I've never raised my prices since then. So, and then Trina does an amazing job. So, you know, I mean, you got to pay good help, good wages. So, and tattoo artists make too much money. You're in a different situation. You don't have the money rolling in already off of tattooing, but I'm sure there's people out there willing to get your program going just for the aspect of what it is. You know what I mean?
Sure. I got a lot of people willing to help a little bit, but again, when you start out with nothing, it's a slow process, but it's getting there.
Right.
It's getting there.
Yeah, it's only
Super
been what,
encouraging though. It's cool. What'd you say, Chris?
it's only been what, 2 years? So yeah, I mean, it don't start
Well, like a
overnight.
nonprofit's not even been a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not even been a year. I mean, the tattoos have been, well, it'll be 2 years in August, but I've not gotten a tattoo with anybody else in quite some time.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, that's a lot to get in such a short period of time then.
10 months.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of
That's
tattoos.
I mean,
His
wow.
arms are covered, his legs are covered.
Yeah.
Is your
What's
torso
the-
equally covered?
No, I got like 5 on my one side, 1 over here.
Okay.
I'd say the shoulders up about that far down on my front and my back.
Okay.
Now, do
I got-
you get them in the same location as them, or are they getting in all the same locations, or most of them?
I tried to when I first started it, but as I started filling up and I had people that had barely any, it was almost impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put it where I can fit it and they put it where they want it.
What's the largest one you have that you got with
Matching
someone?
one is probably that butterfly there. That's probably the
Okay.
largest matching one I've got, but other than that, most of them are small. I mean, just that way I can conserve space.
Right.
The
Yeah.
real estate
Well, that's
talk.
good.
I mean, I got 18 on my ass.
So numbers, not coverage. No.
Yes, numbers not covered.
Numbers, not coverage,
Correct.
which is generally the opposite of most collectors. Most
Yes.
collectors want large scale coverage.
Which makes sense. I mean, it does. I just,
The circumstance is the opposite of that.
oh yeah.
Your point is to connect with as many as
I
possible.
mean, I almost wish like these stars and these dots. When I started doing it, I had one of my guys say, hey, let's do a traditional type filler. I said, cool. But I wish I would have held off because I got so many people who want to do it now. I could fill all those little spots with different things.
I mean,
Yeah.
you still can. You still got like dime and nickel size
Oh, yeah.
spaces in
Well,
between.
and
So
Also just powering over them and letting them be where they're at. Just, I like that look sometimes. You ever see where they just tattoo over it and
Yeah.
whatever showing? You know, that looks cool sometimes too. And then with our ink now too, I mean, I could knock out 10 of those stars if it was in a big enough area where you wouldn't even tell they were there anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I've actually done about 50 tattoos.
Really?
Well, people want me to sign them, or I
Mhm.
had a girl want me to tattoo her butt the other day. Just because I'm not saying I'm proficient at it by any means, but
Right.
but it's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done a tattoo.
No,
No, never. I've removed tattoos. I've been manager of a tattoo studio. I was even a tattoo
Hey,
apprentice.
moved them or just skinned them off somebody accidentally.
Hey,
that,
no.
that was one I did the other day.
Nice.
I don't know if you can see it
Nice.
on there or not, but
nice.
I can't wait to do it. Yeah. So that's kind
So
of
what-
exciting.
What is your favorite tattoo?
of the matching ones, a lot of news reporters ask me that, like People Magazine asked me that.
Mhm.
And I tell them, I've got 5 kids. It's like, I love them all equally, but differently.
Yep.
Because these people are putting something on their body forever. And a lot of them put my name on them. So I really can't say love them one more than the other.
Mhm.
There's 419 different random cool experiences.
Mhm.
On my own, my favorite one's probably that pine tree. Because, it
That's what kind of-
inspires myself to keep going with everything
Right.
else.
Yep. Kind of catapulted this whole journey, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
Nice. What do you think has been your favorite? So one of the things I like to talk about with my tattoo collection is these accidental blessings that we achieve through collecting tattoos. What do you think is something accidental that you've received from tattooing that you didn't expect?
Had a girl fly me to Alaska. And I've never been there, it was never on my bucket list of things to do. But we got a virtual tattoo 3 months in when I started all this.
Mhm.
And she called me up last summer and said, hey, Don, she said, what? It's summertime out here. Come on out. So I went out, spent 8 days with her and got to see from a local out there what Alaska's really like. It was
That's
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. But I'd have to go in the summer for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at night it got in the 40s and then it got to about 72 during the day, but it was beautiful,
So
beautiful.
that sounds perfect to me.
Yeah, I can handle that, but I just won't be outside at nighttime. But
I mean, 40 at night's not really that bad.
It's not terrible.
That sounds
yeah, I mean, no,
perfect to me.
it's 40 during the daytime here in Indy half the time. So
Right. I think I'm going to start summering in Alaska.
Yeah.
what was it? So what time was Alaska there? What's their summer? What, August areas?
I was out there the first part of August. It started snowing in September after, after I got back, I should say. So it gets colder pretty quick and their summers are really short. But
Right.
it's a beautiful country out there.
Nice. Yeah, I've always wanted to go. And I honestly want to go in the dead of winter. I don't mind the cold. I'll take the negatives. I'm fine with that. Like,
You'll never find it there.
But Ben has like sub-zero hammocks and like the ultra down, ultra light, super Eskimo, Inuit, astronaut, space hammocks.
yeah, I mean, I do like sleeping outside. That is very true. It is a thing I do frequently.
Well, I'm just saying, like, for you to be like, yeah, 40
Yeah, I don't-
degrees is nothing, but
40
like you've
degrees
got
is
the
nothing.
appropriate equipment.
I slept in a hammock at -17. That's what my little thermometer read in the morning.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to be outside -17.
Oh, it was
I mean,
a blast.
I'm in the house with my temperature set on 74.
Yeah, I'm not a big winter fan myself.
Oh, see, I don't mind it. It's one of those things. As long as you're ready, it's fine. Getting caught in the winter in shorts, no, it's a different ball game. But
Little chappy.
little chappy.
I'm working on getting my passport right now because I've got tattoos with around the world that want to meet me.
Nice,
And I got one girl in Kenya, Africa,
nice.
wants me to come over and marry her for a week.
All right.
I'm like, why not?
There's
All
worse
right.
things to have in life.
Yes.
There's worse things to have in life than a Kenyan wife. I think there's a poem somewhere here.
Yeah.
We should focus a little time on it.
Yeah.
See, maybe sculpt it.
I like where
See
this is
it-
going.
See where it goes.
Uh,
What's the
Yeah, right.
furthest place away you've been invited to go to?
oh, Australia.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love it. I haven't traveled like off of our continent yet.
Me neither. I want to, and I also value like our country rules. People can, you get out of here and some shit can go down. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of being home. Like, you want to go on a vacation? I'm like, are we driving? Because like,
Yeah.
if we can drive there, I'm in. Because then I can leave.
I don't mind flying until, now with all the crap I won't fly, but I'd rather just drive places because I'm one of those people, the
That takes
destination.
weed.
I take weed with me and the destination's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
The destination's irrelevant. It's the journey there. You know what I mean? I've always had the most fun. So, yeah, that's
I
what
like
I'm
the
gonna start.
trip.
I'm gonna start my own flying. I'm getting my own airplane for tattoo artists. So, when we go to a convention, get on there, smoke. I don't care. We would pick you up at the small airport. There's no security. Yeah.
I love it. Swoop me.
Call me.
Tell me that wouldn't rent out pretty quick.
Bro,
Yeah,
I pay extra. You fly to Rickenbacker.
Well, I mean,
Tell
think it
Tony
would
and
be
KFC
extra.
I sent you.
It wouldn't even be extra because you wouldn't have to get stuff when you got there. You just take what you got and just.
I mean, just not having to deal with the general population is worth everything. Fuck every bit
Yeah.
of weed that can go on the plane. That's like added bonus. You're telling me I don't have to go to port because when you ride in a lot of people don't know, when you ride in a private plane, you don't have to go through the airport. You
Right.
get terminal.
You
So
pull
you
up
go
to
in
the
the
little
back,
hangar. They
you go
got a
through your own
little
little
security.
entrance.
There is a
They
little bit of a security at certain ones.
They're like, hi
They're-
guys. Are you ready
yeah,
for your private plane?
levels.
You look
Well,
good. Get on.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that. If you want to get me out of
Let's
the
go.
airport,
Do you think that'd be a good asset for tattoo industry? Like its own airline? that
I
kind
want my own plane eventually. Like that's one of my like life goals. I actually had this
I talked
conversation with my mom a few years ago, and I even want a 6-seater. I've done a little bit of homework on like the models of plane that I would want to learn to fly in
Yeah.
to get comfortable flying, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
Like
want
my
some
starter.
Cessna.
Yeah, my starter aircraft. I'll probably get a Piper. But anyways,
But
I'm glad you just said that, because everybody else thinks I'm crazy when I say I want an airplane. Everybody else thinks I'm crazy because I talk.
no, municipal airport to municipal airport. That seems like the best way to travel. Like, oh, we want to go to Vegas. I'll be there in 4 hours. Let me make a few phone calls.
Especially if you're the one buying it and I just get to chip in for gas. Hard in.
Well, shit, think about it right now. As much as I like to travel to the tattoo shops and in different states, even instead of just Indiana, hell, what I spent in the gas since Joe Biden took over, I could have bought an airplane probably.
That's fair. In
Shit.
reality, you can get a used aircraft for like $60,000-$70,000.
Yeah,
like
you don't realize that. That's what I told you. I mean, that's what a Ford pickup truck costs. You know what I mean?
If you get a cheap one.
Yep.
But it's $100 an hour to learn to fly, and you need like 1,000 hours. So some stupid like that. You know, you gotta. It's pretty expensive.
And how much is it to rent a pilot?
Yeah, that's where it's expensive. That's why you want to bond. You want to
I'm
get
gonna
your own
have to
life.
fly my own plane. I'm gonna have to have
Well, no,
my
like, I
own
get
plane.
that,
I'm gonna
but-
have to be a pilot.
My
I'm
girlfriend
gonna
don't like
have to have a
that.
parachute.
You got 1,000 hours to wait to use the plane. I'm just talking about how much does a pilot cost in the meantime.
I don't think it's that
I'm
many
gonna try
hours.
to fly that. Yeah, you have to have so many hours to get your license. Because I have a buddy we used to hang out with, that little small plane.
But how many
And
of
a friend
those
of mine has
hours can be
license.
simulation? Because if those hours can be simulation, you can like buy the software and
Oh, if I
basically
can learn how to do
simulate.
I
this
mean,
on
I'm
a
sure
fucking
you can
video
make-
game,
I'll have a license next week.
I mean, it'll take longer than that.
Ben said, "I got you this."
I think you
I'll
can.
be a top pilot.
You don't even know. They'll be giving me F-16 license.
I
I
would
was
trust
doing
you to
flight
drive.
simulators when I was a youngin. That was my shit.
He's like, "Ain't you ever played Top Gun on Atari? I got this."
Bro, Top Gun. Yeah, that was my game.
Nintendo.
You're in danger zone in my head right now, guys.
All right, so no bullshit. I was at work this morning and I literally the driveway at my work's like a 1/4 mile long. So to take out the trash, it's an event, right? So we have a Kubota and I start up the Kubota and the very first thing, it was the very first beat of Eye of the Tiger. It was like, whoa, whoa. And I was like, no way. I must live inspired. So I like dance break the whole fucking trash episode. It was amazing. It started my morning off right.
Nice.
I drove down the driveway like it was amazing. It was amazing.
I
I
love
hope
it.
they got some video of it, because when he got off at the end to throw the trash, he spun around the forklift and stuff.
Absolutely. It's funny how the radio always has a way, or whatever station always has a way of chirping into exactly what your mood is or what you need and
Sometimes.
bringing you to life.
Sometimes it hits like, oh, I didn't know I needed to hear that song right now, but I did.
There used to be a running joke that Pandora has a way of hitting the mood because, like, it's all stuff you pick. Don't get me wrong, but like
Mhm.
you'll be having this certain experience, and then the song like comes in the background, like you're in a fucking Disney movie, and you're like,
I think Spotify knows my emotions
You
better
listening?
than I know my emotions.
Google, can
Well,
you
that shows how
hear
much
me?
that shows how much your phone's paying attention to you.
Mhm.
yeah,
sitting
so it's
there.
like, Google, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I'm flipping through it too, and I can't decide what I want to hear. You know, especially if I'm trying to tattoo. I'm like, what mood? And I just keep starting song after song, trying to figure out what I want to hear. So
I default to like anything from 1972, and then I just
Hey Siri, play something from 1972.
well, look, okay,
Oh
so we
shit,
got
my
like
phone started playing stuff.
what did Siri recommend?
I don't know. I stopped it before it started.
you should have seen what she said. Or
Something's not going out somewhere, but we're recording, so it's okay.
It's all good. Oh, I just got a text from the one and only person I know that listens to my show and said that we're not live or she can't find podcasts. So, but it's okay.
That's okay. But this is the first time I've like made all the connections and stuff myself, so I could have forgotten a step or skipped a step. But I've got it all recording. I've got it going to Vimeo, so it's
What
okay.
about our fans?
Well, it just means like they're missing out on the live, unfortunately.
I
but
post
like
all
this will
that
be
stuff.
available. It'll be available right away.
It's like
There you
all
go.
this gold just wasted.
It's not wasted. It just will be available as soon as we finish.
hey,
All of our-
anticipation makes things better.
Sure.
Of course.
Sure. Yeah, that's what you tell your kids when you're leaving. I'll be back from the store. I'm just getting cigarettes, I promise.
3 days later, don't open the door for anyone.
3 days.
I was just watching a stand-up that had this whole routine. I wish I could remember who it was. Don't open the door for anyone.
It's the same as the doorbell. Have you heard the doorbell routine?
Uh-uh.
Like how now ringing the doorbell as opposed to like 20 years ago is completely different. Like, 10, 15 years ago, you didn't call people before you went to their house.
Oh, I
You
text
stopped
people
by
when I
their
pull
house
up.
and you said, "You fucking home? Hey, are you here? I'm here." Now, somebody knocks on your door. What the fuck is at my house? My text didn't ring. Nobody called. My cameras didn't go off. The door's just what?
It's like somebody's lost.
Somebody trying to get me.
Somebody's lost.
Trying to get me. Sneaky motherfucker.
So Chris, how's everything going getting ready for your show?
Oh, it's going great. It's
When is the
everything's
show?
wrapped up. What's that?
When is the show?
June 10th through the 12th.
Beautiful.
June.
Chris, do you in fact have pipe and drape?
We in fact have it. Yeah. The magical thing about our show too is it's kind of ironic, but the people that we get our pipe and drape from is literally the warehouse right next door to the convention center.
Oh, it's almost like you planned something.
Yeah. It's so crazy. What's funny? You know how well I plan ahead is I had done conventions in Louisville, Kentucky prior to Indie Tattoo Expo with Days of the Dead. We did Days of the Dead Tattoo Expo, me and Scott Majeski, and we used a company down there. So when we went to do Indie, at first I couldn't find no places around here, that advertised. So I called them. I already had it ordered for them to bring the shit from Kentucky. It was already in the books. And I was going to pay the delivery fee to have them deliver it from Kentucky. That's how on top of the pipe and drapes I was then. And then we got talking with the hotel and they're like, well, we get it from the place right next door. And I'm like, what? And they're like, and then we used to lay the plastic down on the floors ourselves because we use a hotel. So it's got, cover the floor. And they walked in, the pipe and drape guys walked in last year and they seen us on our hands and knees rolling out these fucking plastic rolls, which is a terrible job if you ain't ever done that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I know.
you know what I mean?
I do. They came with that fucking machine and made you feel dumb, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. They came in and he was like, wait a minute. He's like, just stop. And he comes walking. And I promise if anything could be on video for that I could put some like A-Team music to, you know what I mean? Like they're coming in the end of the expo doors and the doors bust open and it's that guy and like 5 guys and they got a couple of those rollers and they just hit that floor and it was just like, man, it could have been like magic just watching them go. So
it's just like the first time you watch somebody use a gaff tape gun. You're like, wait, I'll have to crawl on my hands and knees. I can just push this fucking thing and it tapes all the things. And I just walk with, I don't have to, my knees won't be broken.
You mean to tell me?
Some stuff, man. I'll tell you right now, that's why my back's messed up because I didn't realize all that. Even like, last year I cut all the props out of that wood using a freaking circular saw and a jigsaw. And then my buddy comes over and he's like, they sell a thing that you just, and I'm like, well, fuck no, I don't know. I'd probably use it. I had to cut out 40 props, you know what I mean?
It's just the old roadie saying, if it has wheels, push it. If it doesn't have wheels, put wheels on it.
Yeah. No,
man, so what gaps are missing? What are your loose ends?
Just getting a few paperwork from a few artists, me catching up on getting stuff posted on Instagram, just getting everybody out. We have everybody on our actual website, but Instagram I decided to do 3 posts, 4 pictures, which actually makes it a little bit more eye pleasing to scroll the page. But so me trying to catch up with that, and just getting out on the street promoting. We got the billboards up around Indiana now, so
nice.
Yeah, those are really cool. I love driving around the city and seeing big billboards, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's gonna make you feel good.
Yeah, it's funny. I always told everybody when I first opened, I was like, I'm having therapy. We're gonna have billboards around 465 before you know it. And everybody, of course, $3,000 a month, and people are like, whatever. So now as I drive by, not only see any tattoo expo, but it's put on by Ink Therapy. So it says my shop name, Ink Therapy, up there. And my crews worked really hard to get that recognition, because my team at the shop, that just of artists that grind out daily so I can be out doing this is huge to Indie Tattoo Expo, and probably don't really, get recognized publicly, and they don't care to be recognized. They're just doing, what they love to do. But those guys are important to Indie Tattoo Expo because Ink Therapy's out there grinding. So to get them to recognize and make sure that I'm feeding them with, people knowing about them and coming to them for all their hard work is, that's kind of important to me, that Ink Therapy's up there just as much as Indie Tattoo Expo.
Love it. Love it. You got to take care of the people around you. You don't grow.
Everybody's got to come up, or everybody stays the same. It's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize. If you don't bring your team up with you, what's the sense of growing? Like, literally, what's the sense of growing? I love to see somebody that's dedicated to the people around him as much, if not more, than himself. Somebody that actually has pride in what he does. It's so rare to see people that have a real passion, and I fucking love it, man. I'm your biggest fan. I'll throw it out there.
Get it, because that is it. Sometimes my passion and my drive for just more for everybody and seeing what's on the table that we can all grab gets confused by people that come and work around or with me or for me, because I'm real aggressive about let's get to the next step and let's do it. So sometimes it can be off-putting to some people, though. So it's nice when people see a value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different. It's when you're so close to someone like that, you don't get a chance to step back and see the whole drive. You just see the wheel in motion. The closer you are to the wheel, the faster it's spinning. So until you step back and get to like notice what's going on and see it as a whole picture, being around anybody that has that kind of focus or that kind of tension, or that, it seems like they're going 90 miles an hour all the time. But that's what it takes to do this kind of stuff.
I'm driving my girlfriend nuts. Liz is ready to probably strangle me 90% of the time because and it's like, she's at one point, can you like not be doing something? I'm like,
no,
sorry. But yeah, so that is something, even, not even for just people work around me, but like, my spouse, most importantly. My old lady's just like, God, dude, like, shut off.
Deep breath.
And like you said, the passion thing, so with Indie Tattoo Expo, we collect portfolios or bios for everybody, because I like to post a lot of information on each one of the posts, try to make it real informative and stuff. Because sometimes that allows customers like Don or somebody to connect, because they're like, oh, that guy's from where my mom grew up or whatever, you know what I mean? So I love the background. Most importantly, I think it represents our our mentors who taught us and the people before us and how we've got to where we're at. So that was huge for me. So in doing this, I won't put artists out there, but somebody responded that they didn't, that their mentor was not, NA. That's what they put on their mentor's thing. And I know their mentor, and he's an amazing person. Like and I think like,
I see what you're saying.
I was literally like almost tear drawn, because I was like that upset about like, this dude just disrespected like somebody that's a friendly dude that's like never crossed anybody. He's just a joy bundle, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck him. And I like, even now, like I get like, watery. I just like, it was just so emotional to me because I'm so passionate that I'm like, wow, this dude just said, just because I don't even, more so probably because he's associated with me. You know what I mean? Now, because the one guy works for me, and I'm a villain when you hold people accountable. But I was just like, that's how deep my passion is, like you say. So I'm glad you see it as passion and not like that guy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, man, it's just like people don't get to see that end of it. And I was like emotionally like, wow, man, like that, bro. And I told him, boy, I was like, I can't believe he answered this question and told me that, he basically didn't say you apprenticed him. He's like, whatever. And I'm over there like,
a little salty for the whole situation.
Well, I'm a firm believer in if you're the person in the room that can take the shot to the chop, you're the one that should stand up and take it. You know what I mean? Like, so if nobody else has the means to stand up and speak up for the group, or stand up for themselves, or stand up for whatever the situation is, and you're the able-bodied, fit person that can take that shot to the chops, if it comes to that, stand up and do your fucking job. And you live that same mindset, and it's a detachment that we have in society now that people don't have. They see other people struggle, and they see other people's problems, and they see other people that they should be involved in helping in. And instead of stepping up and saying, I'm able to take that shot in the mouth for you, I'm going to stand up for you, I'm going to stand up for the situation. Nobody does, and it just crumbles.
Tampa all the way. That
Right.
goes back to Tampa all the way, because that video, the girl who posted it, she has like 100,000 followers on TikTok or something ridiculous. You know what I mean? And she posted that video. She's one of my daughter's friends, and she posted that video, and of course it gets 20,000 comments, and people are like, "Well,
Jesus, I didn't know it was that big."
Yeah. Some people are like, "Well, you look like the one being aggressive and stuff." I'm like, "You don't even know. Like, you're just so against trying to be an argument that you're not even paying attention." No, I was being the one who was ready to take what needed to be done for the people there that were getting screwed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, they didn't have a booth for like Mike DeVries and stuff. Like Tyler was like, "I'll leave. You can just take my spot." I mean, it was just like there was people being disrespected, and like you just said, I was the guy in the room that was willing to. And then I walked back there. He's standing there with two of his big buddies, and I looked at my best friend, and he just had shoulder surgery. And I'm thinking, well, we both got to do this at least one more time. You know what I mean?
Once
like,
more into the fray, my friend.
I'm like, I'm telling you what would have happened. I would have noticed it. And by then, I think Derb was kind of paying attention anyway. So, you know what I mean? I think that, they would have, it would have went, and a couple artists who are doing Indie Tattoo Expo are right there. So, but yeah, people are like, what would you do if your back was out? Like,
With
you
my
went up there
cane.
I would have used that cane and snapped out of it for a second. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
adrenaline took over at that point. But that's right, man. You do have to be a person to stand up, and that's another reason we did Indie Tattoo Expo, just to stand up in a good way, though, because sometimes standing up ain't always aggressive. It's just standing up and showing what a standard should be.
It could be done better. Here is an example of how to do better. And that's the other thing too. It's all about how you carry yourself and you present your program as a whole. It's not just about being the loud one in the room. It's also about setting a good example. If you don't live your life by that, you don't have a right to fucking be the guy to say anything about it. If you don't set the example, if you don't keep that high morality or whatever the circumstance is, you don't.
And I do that to
say
keep the
anything about
pressure on myself. I mean, I really try to put it there verbally to keep the pressure on myself, because then everybody thinks that. So then I have to do what I'm saying. And that's why we did Indie Tattoo Expo, to do it better and to do it, make it look, nice, is why we did the 1920s classic theme too, to just kind of show how classic tattooing is. So that, and then my favorite thing is challenge yourself every day to do better and be better than you were yesterday.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, your show really was a class act, though. Like, I'm excited to see how much new you have this year. I'm excited just to see all the new bells and whistles. But
so can we record live
at Chris's show?
Yeah.
Chris said I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
I wasn't privy to that conversation. I'm asking.
Wow. Yeah, that was where Tampa was beneficial. We had a lot of good conversations. I mean, Tampa was a great time. I mean, hanging out with Fawn and Derb and my best friend Jason. Me and him are so busy, always doing shit. And he's been, busy. My daughter getting a couple of days off with her. So it turned out to be a great show.
Nice.
But yeah, we had a good conversation. Fawn's gonna get wild there. We got some ideas of just doing whatever to get the video out there. I've talked to one of my buddies about even possibly making it to where, and that's what kind of brought it up with me and Fawn, is making it where people across the world can buy those virtual tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yep. One of the things I'm going to start doing, I'm going to use Health City and the Indie Tattoo Expo is kind of like my test conventions for these ideas, so I can see what works and what doesn't work and kind of get a format for future shows. But what I imagine is basically getting up on stage and introducing myself, letting everybody know I'm Fawn with Tattoo Collecting 101 on the Reinventing platform. Let them know that I'm up here taking videos of all of the contestants in the tattoo competitions, and I'm getting close-up videos and, when I come by with the camera, go ahead and tell me who your artist is. Go ahead and tell me what this tattoo is about and how long it took. Like, go ahead and tell me. I'm not a judge. Like, share all of that with me so that the spectators at home or the people getting worked on or the tattooers can put us on the iPad and see everything that's going on stage and actually see the tattoos that have been done all weekend and actually like see who they're competing against, even if they're still working. I think that's a missing ingredient because what's that?
That's one of the big things that, I think like talking about loose ends for indie is having that to where the page is more interactive, that I have somebody actually working the page all weekend. You know what I mean? So that they're getting that, like seeing what's happening. What did I miss on Friday? Why should I be there Saturday type thing? I
mean, we can just connect ahead of time and I can broadcast to like both of our feeds at the same time, like the tattoo collecting 101, as well as the Indie Tattoo Expo. And I'm going to start off with just Instagram, but I'm looking at some different software where we can pull that video in and it can be like nicely edited on the fly. It'll just take me and one other person to make it happen. But
and I need to connect you with the guy who did our main videoing at Indie Tattoo Expo, the Rock Dog Productions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year I remember checking their equipment out because I was still like getting our stuff together, and so I'm looking at like what they have and what I have and how they're using it.
Gear
and like
geeking out.
Yeah.
Well, he just
ease of
got
operation.
Indie so that he could switch from camera angle to camera angle and do that. I know he bought something like that last year for it, but I'll get you his stuff. He's a super easy guy to work with. He's done a great job with it. And then connecting with all the video people ahead of time could make it a great experience versus everybody showing up and being like, oh, we could, or we should have.
Next time, Will.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna bring my table with me. I'll pretty much have like everything that we've got going on today. I'll probably have even a couple additional cameras. But I want to just be able to, like I said, I want to just be able to share everything that's going on stage. And then I think that's just gonna be.
Yeah, this year we have triple the burlesque shows. We have an extra side show. We have magic. So we've kind of tripled everything. We got an extra room of tattoo artists.
Is Captain going to be your MC again?
I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have maybe Brittany and Harry Bean, the one who was there, the DJing last year, them more MC and allow Captain to kind of more be at his booth, because last year they really didn't get a chance to be at the booth with him being up there, swallowing swords all weekend and talking loudly for everybody. So I'm going to try to maybe transfer and have more Brittany and Harry Bean do the emceeing.
If they fall out, I got you.
Brittany did a great job.
Yeah, and appearance wise, she fit the part, right? I mean, she's coming there. So this year, hopefully getting her a little bit more involved up there. Plus, we have 2 rooms, so we're gonna have them 2 kind of swapping in and out, so that kind of the other rooms getting the same amount of attention, and kind of just changes up the tone, because we got burlesque coming on, we got sideshows, we got James Maltman. I think you've seen him at the Villain Art shows. He's amazing. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but you talk about some energy. Pretty intense guy to check out. So we have so much going on the stage this year. You're going to catch a lot of good video. And then we've talked with Savannah about getting some different ideas and visuals up on the stage. So we got a couple of things that are going to make the stage look a little bit better, I hope. And just trying to button up and pull all the new stuff. I want to see everybody. I want there to be a notice that I put some more effort in again this year. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I haven't as many shops as I want to be at yet. So I'm hoping I'll get this shop build done, remodeling my shop, and add 4 booths to the studio. So as soon as that's out of the way, I'll be back on the road. But yeah, just tiny. I want everybody, when you guys walk in, I want you to be like, oh yeah, they did something new. It's not just he threw up the same old shit. You know what I mean?
Love it.
How many shops do you think you're going to hit? But like once you get back on the road, how many shops is your goal to hit before your show?
Well, I roughly only have about 50 days. So, damn, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Oh, wow.
It's okay. You got a good team. It's going to be fine. A lot can happen in 16 hours.
Yeah. 16 hours, yeah. I mean, I'm optimistic for everybody but myself, right? It shows how much pressure you put on yourself. Like, I'm like, oh, I got 50 days, and this dude's got 16 hours. I'm like, oh, he's got it. He's got it. I believe in all you guys. Promise you that. that's why I push people too far. I think so much. I believe in them so much. I'm like, you can do it. They're like, no, I can't. I'm like, over the edge you go. No, yeah. I don't know. I'd hope to hit at least probably 30 or 40 shops. I've actually hit a couple in the last few weeks that I've just stopped by, driving by, and I actually doing everything else. I haven't posted them. Like normally I'm posting as soon as I stop them, but I'm also got a thing going with Instagram right now, just trying to keep the artist in. It has a really good look to the overall page. So if you ever
One of the things that I like about you as like both a promoter and as like just a tattooer, I like the old fashioned quality about you, where you like to like meet people face to face and like physically shake their hand. And I think that's something that it's just nice to see how important it is for you for that. Like, I've made the effort to come to your shop, and I would appreciate your patronage.
It's this, you lose connection with the screen.
Yeah.
And we
that's why
talked about it
Don's story is
before.
so important, is the connection.
Right.
I mean, that's the point in Don's story, is the connection. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, and then like now him being able to maybe turn in and get his passport and even meet more of those people. That's like you saying. I mean, I think meeting people, that connection and human quality, not even in tattooing, is missing. So I even try to meet the people who aren't coming to the show. I stop in shops that aren't coming, and I'm sure some of them are probably like, I didn't get invited, and they're shitty I'm there, but I'm there. You know what I mean? Well, and sometimes
maybe you'll be in consideration for next year.
Well, and sometimes it is. It's better, either they didn't know or I didn't know about them, and I'm just driving. I type in tattoo shop wherever I'm at, and then I start pulling in tattoo shops. You know what I mean? Like when we were in Tampa, actually, Jason and I, we stopped at probably 5 shops down there, and every one of them were closed or mask mandate or locked to appointment only. And I'm just like, that's the one thing that bothered me about some stuff. One of my buddies called me the other day, and it's one of my favorite people too. So it was kind of a good call, but it was like, damn, he's right. And he's like, I seen his phone, so I answered. I'm like, Paul Breeze, and he was like, man, just the way you answer that phone already makes me feel better. And I'm like, why? What's up, buddy? And he was like, I'm not gonna lie, Taylor, man, I'm an emotional guy, man, and you didn't invite me to Indie Tattoo Expo, man, and I thought we were good buddies. I'm like, shit, you're one of my favorite people. What do you mean? I was like, I'll be honest, the reason I come by this because I know your shop is heavy on the, mask and the door being locked, and I'm not going to drive somewhere I can't go into. I said, but you're right. I could have called your ass, man. So thanks for calling me out. I appreciate the reality, because I could have said, hey, Paul, why don't you meet me somewhere for dinner or lunch? And you know what I mean? So I like that when I get kind of refreshed on where I'm slacking. And sometimes when you're busy, it's not that you don't love somebody, because that's probably literally one of the favorite people I love to be around. But you're just busy and you're moving and you're in different circles, even though you're in the same city. And so sometimes I miss it. So that's why I like going to the shops too, because I basically try to stop tattooing anyway. I kind of got some lagging appointments now because I had to cancel because my back's been out. But normally I'll stop tattooing end of February until the expo, just so I can drive to tattoo shops. Because you only hit a couple a day the way I talk. I don't have much.
That's why we like having you on. We prompt you and sit back.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. How these shops real quick. Liz is like, I'm never going on those days with you. She'll go a couple of times, but she's like, I think after a couple of shops, she's just like, holy shit.
Chris.
Also, that's important to vet in the studios.
Chris, I've been in tattoo shops around the country. I know a lot of shop owners. I don't know if that would help you out or not, but I can send you a list.
Oh, yes. I would love a list of it, because I like to do that. I like to, when I go to other cities and try to go, and then having a slight bit of connection, common ground is huge to spark it. Because sometimes, there is a lot of craziness in our industry. So you can walk in a shop, and if they don't know who you are, or if they do know who you are, it can be a totally different, energy per who your soft introduction is, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, in the business world, a soft introduction is huge, you know what I'm saying? So they actually use that term a lot in the business world. So, like if I was going to do something huge for some company that Derb's already worked with, and Derb just sent them a message like, hey, my buddy Chris is going to contact you. Then when I contact him, they kind of it's almost like a reference point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
A warm contact as opposed to a cold.
I know quite a few. I've been in 1 or 2 shops around the country.
Nice.
Yeah, you've been in a few. Ain't that neat to go in and see the difference in all the studios too? Like, there's so many varieties of.
There's one in Savannah. It's 4 stories high. And they got like 20 artists working in there.
Wow.
Don came here to Red Tree and we came right out to the studio. So he hasn't, or out to the warehouse. So he hasn't gotten to walk through the studio yet. So once we're,
They
well,
gypped you. They built that anticipation we were talking about because they gypped that.
once we get done recording today, we'll take a walk through and look at the art gallery and all the cool stuff we've got around.
That's what I love about Red Tree is the art in there. You know what I mean? And that's kind of ink therapy. You know, like we're opening up this new side and it has this big, huge wall, and everybody's like, "Dude, you can't wait to put art up, can you?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Well, like, so I mean, I have 30 years of collecting tattoo artists' paintings. You know what I mean? I have stacks of paintings that need somewhere to go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, they held out on you, Don, not taking you through the studio first.
I need to get back on the art collection. I am recently redecorating my house. The person that was in charge of decorating my house no longer lives there, and all my walls are bare. So I took like my man cave amount of photos and paintings and things that I had and spread them all over my living room. So it looked super like half done now.
Well, what kind of stuff are you do? Maybe I'll make you a painting.
Bobby, I like stuff that you like. I like to see your inspiration. I like to see the things that make you tick. My things are so broad. I know so many artists and I've seen so many things come through the pipe. I would rather you be excited and enjoy what you're doing and put that on whatever medium than me be like, I want a picture of a clown.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I get that. I like a direction of people's like, or just getting to see, you know, what they're into. But yeah, I get that. I don't like when somebody's like, just for random, they want something, but like, feel like shit, man. I mean, my life's about, you know,
right.
I guess
right.
I got an idea. Don't even talk to me. I got an idea, man. I just give everybody, I'll write it down if I forget too. Matter of fact.
Oh, that's real. He's writing it down.
I greatly appreciate you. It's a weird thing because it's like knowing so many artists, I feel awkward going and looking at like even just like TJ Maxx, like, oh, let's just get some random pictures to put on the wall to fill this space. And I'm like,
I don't know
fucking
that
people that can paint that. Like you walk around my living room and I'm like, that's this person, that's this person, that's that person. They were at my wedding. They signed my marriage certificate. Like it's all personal. I love.
Well, that's what you need to get for art night. You need to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby. They got all those cool like paintings, but like you say, somebody could paint it. You just buy one of those $40 paintings. You bring it to art night, and then you do something over the top of it, and then
no, it's original.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if you know of my artistic abilities.
Yeah, I took a coloring book last time.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure we were on the same page. I didn't know if you remembered. I literally brought Crayola.
That's why I was giving you a decent background to go off of. So you didn't have to do too much. You know?
My hero. We'll just embellish some things.
Hey, if you buy one of those, just buy those 99-cent tubes of paint and then just get above it and go.
Abstract.
You guys are gonna make a mess together.
Might be my wheel. I think we already
So
have.
I might help you.
I have a couple more questions for Don. So before we went live, we were talking about some of like the different shows that you've been on,
Mhm.
your different publications and things like that.
Mhm.
What is the most difficult one that you've been on, and what were some of the hoops you had to jump through for it?
The Tamron Hall show. I figured when they reached out to me, it'd be like, you know, most of the other interviews I've done, they call me up and we just get it done. But I said I'd be willing to do it. And next day they called me up and they did a background check on me from the time I was like 16 to now. Asked me about every marriage and divorce and anything legal I've ever been through. Asked me about my kids, and they made me go to my doctor and actually get a signed certificate stating that I actually had terminal cancer. Contacted about 300 people I got in tattoos with, just so they could call them up and talk about the experiences they had.
How many people do you think they actually reached out to?
They got a team. They probably got a lot.
Oh, they did. The ones I know for fact, about 50 of them.
Okay.
Wow.
But they only took of the 50 and used like 6 of their interviews because they
Yeah, but that's good research, though. I mean, that's good. If you're a reporter, I think that's how stuff should be done. Actually, you know, verify stuff, because nowadays we know reporting is not like that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I mean, I give them kudos because they did verify everything.
Mhm.
They talked to my mom, they talked to people around the country I got tattoos with. It was probably one of the coolest experiences I've had because it was 3 weeks of nonstop work, but it's fun.
Nice. Nice.
I couldn't imagine being that prepared for a conversation.
I try to keep everything as easy as possible. Like, okay, here's the day, here's the time. I'll send you a link a half hour early or come in person.
I love it when Fawn tries to tell me we're going to have bullet points for shows. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll remember that.
Sometimes we stay on
We have
point.
never once in motherfucking history of this show stayed on topic.
Sometimes we stay on topic for like several minutes at a time.
For several minutes at a time. We have these brief flashes of clarity.
Brief flashes of focus.
We're not ADD. It's not the weed.
We're collectively ADD. We,
I
it's
feel like
like we-
this one stayed on a pretty, at least similar path. You know, we're not talking about aliens out of nowhere.
Hey,
Well-
hey. Jordan's not
I'm
here to
just
defend
saying,
himself. I'll stick up for him. Yeah, I don't. It's a lot.
I will say the ADD, I've become ADD after I started getting all these tattoos
Mhm.
because
Now,
I'll sit down.
tattoo artists are crazy.
Oh my God. I'll sit down with a list of things I know I need to get done. And I never get it done because I just realized I got so much to get done. I get lost in where I was supposed to start.
Right,
Yeah.
right. By the time
Well,
we're
that
done
sounds
making
like
your list,
me.
you're
Thanks for
tired.
explaining my mindset. Yeah, thank you for explaining my mindset.
Then it's
all the
like-
way.
Then you get to the point where it's like, oh, I made this list 3 days ago. I need to make a new list.
Yep.
So you make a new list on your list.
Yep.
I
100%.
won't even walk you guys into my office to show you that pile of lists right now. I was just
I need
thinking.
one on a roll. So as
Yeah.
I complete them, I can just spin it.
Oh, well, see, that's the thing is I have written down ones and I have the ones in my phone. So I get, one point what are you gonna do? Put Post-it notes on everything?
Yes.
I tried that.
Yes. My desk. Okay, I've got a wall with screens. Every single one of them has 4 or 5 Post-it notes on it. Every single one of them. And as soon as I get it done, I crumple it and I throw it away, and then something
Yeah.
else goes in its spot. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
that guy I lay down and jump up and write a whole list at 2:30. I'm like laying down in bed. And I'm like, I better write this down. Next thing you know, I wrote 15 things on that list. And like Don said, you know what I mean? I'm like, wake up next morning and where do you start? Like, because you already have the stuff that you need to do before you wrote that fucking list in the first place.
Yep. Yep.
How many artists you got in your shop out there?
We have 12.
That's quite a big shop.
Yeah, it's a big studio. Yeah, so we're actually expanding to 13 booths now, so it's gonna be nice. Because right now we actually have like I want to say 7 booths, and we have people work on 4-day shifts, most of them. So with people having days off and stuff, we have a couple of floaters, what we call floaters, and they basically use what booths open that day per other people's days off. Those are basically people who started out as an apprentice at the shop and worked their way into just staying there instead of going somewhere else. They wanted to stay with the studio. So now I'm trying to grow and give everybody space, and it's a little fun little journey, but it's really cool. It's nice because we have so many different styles too. You know, we have so many styles of tattoos coming out of the shop, but there's, it's kind of like Red Tree. You guys got pretty various. We got some super traditional people, and we got that. So yeah, it's not too far from you. You have to get out here. I'm sure we got people out here to get warm with you.
Oh yeah, it's not far at all, actually. I mean, I wouldn't mind coming out there sometime. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can come out here.
Where are you from, Don?
I grew up in Toledo.
Okay.
But right now I really don't live anywhere. I just kind of like float.
Just a tumbleweed?
Yeah.
I like
pretty
it.
much, Pretty
I
much.
like it. Yeah, we ran
the
into each other in
gypsy
Cleveland, so I assumed you were from up that way,
Yep.
but from your phone number, I could tell maybe not. So
Yeah,
Well, maybe we'll
419.
get Don out to maybe you can come out to Indie Tattoo Expo and get Fawn or something. Me and you matching little tattoo machines or something.
There you go.
yep, I like that idea. I
I
like
can
that
do
idea a lot.
Really rad.
Yeah, why not?
I'd be down
He
for
said,
that.
why not? That's what we do. We get tattoos.
He'll show up at one show with us, and like whole him will be all the space in between will be filled.
Oh, I have some artists who would love it. I mean, we actually have a guy who is trying to get, I don't remember if they gave me a number of artists or whatever, but we got one artist that's going to be there that's trying to, I can't even remember, some crazy number of tattoo artists. But basically, he's thinking about getting a bunch of spiders all over him so that he can have like as many tattoo artists as possible tattoo him at one time.
Damn.
Oh, like at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to do that. Like, I don't know if he realizes what is it he's setting himself up for. That's going to be a lot.
One time, me and this guy I worked with, Junior, we went to tattoo a client of his. We were going to tattoo both of us different arms, right? So the guy's sitting there in a chair like this with his arms out, and we go to tattoo him. And the guy had a lot of tattoos, but as soon as we started tattooing on him, he's like, ah! And he jumps, we're like, what the hell? And he was like, I don't know, man, I feel like I just got electrocuted. And so we ended up not being able to do it because he couldn't take it.
Wow.
Every time we would touch him, he would literally act like we electrocuted him, not just tattooed him. And he'd just
Wow.
No, I've definitely been worked on by two people at the same time, multiple times, and it's a challenge and it's doable. I think 3 or 4 people at the same time is a whole nother kind of human being. So if you're signing up for as many people at the same time as you can, like, I guess if they're little and you're just like, you've mentally prepared yourself for like a few minutes of torture, but
I don't know. I think it really just depends on mindset because I could probably take 3 or 4 tattoos at once. I had a guy tattoo right here on my sternum at the same time as a guy was tattooing the back side of my head. And the worst part of that was just turning my fucking neck. I actually made a video about it because my best friend is like, you met Jason, the big guy that's always with me on. So, he's got his chest done, but if you see me tattoo him, I should find the damn pictures. I got the best pictures and everything. He can't handle it. He's a fucking puss when it comes to getting tattooed. Like, always. Literally, he's laying there getting tattooed and freaking snatches my arm like while I'm tattooing. You know what I mean? Like,
bold.
Yeah, so I'm like, so when I was getting tattooed, I had Kenny and Josh Jackson tattooing on me, and Kenny's working on this Harley Davidson motor on my sternum right here and basically my stomach, and Josh was doing this wheel and stuff on my head, and I'm videoing. I'm like, this is how a real man gets tattooed, and send it to Jason, fucking with him. So I think mine.
The fact that it was done
out of spite, I love it twice as much.
Yeah, probably didn't hurt because I was being funny. You know what I mean?
Right.
next time I see him, now that I know that, next time I see him, I'll have to find some of the pictures of me getting tattooed, like tag team style with 2 artists, and be like, oh, this is how a real man gets tattooed with my like pink blanket.
One time, the best thing was I was putting the Tegaderm on him, right? So like, I got done tattooing his chest, and I'm putting the Tegaderm on there. You put it on there, and then you got to peel to clear the plastic layer off.
He's like, no, just leave it.
No. The funny thing was because, you wouldn't think that hurt. I done stuck the stuff to his skin. So all I'm doing is pulling the thick plastic off the back, right? And every time I'd pull it off, he was like, oh.
I love it.
At the shop, at my shop, we crack up every time he's in there. Like, and when I'm tattooing him, I have tears. Like, there's moments where I can't tattoo 15, 20 minutes because I am crying and laughing so hard.
I love it.
You ever cried,
I don't enjoy the process of being tattooed anymore, so I completely understand it. I am really ready to be wrapped up. Let's just say that.
What about you, Don? What's your worst one been?
Honestly speaking, just a little bitty line on the side of my hand.
It's spicy there, isn't
I
it?
mean, that was the worst one I've gotten.
That like
Really?
wrist side of the hand, it's worse there than I thought it would be.
I mean, all the other ones are fine, but that's the worst one I've got.
Yeah. I don't know about worse. I didn't enjoy any of it. So like, I'm not the guy that's like, oh, I fell asleep during my back piece. No, I cried.
Ben's always like, are
I
you
think I'll probably, I don't know. I think I'll probably go sleep getting tattooed on. And I don't know, me and Fawn and Derv and Litos or whatever was talking about when we were having dinner down there.
Mhm.
And like, I want mine, but I don't want mine done unless it's done like now. Like, I hate to say it, but I'll make myself go to sleep to sit there for a 20-hour session. I don't care if people say, oh, you say that till you get it. You ain't seen me get tattooed. I go to sleep most of the time when I get tattooed. Throat, head, no matter where I'm getting tattooed. It's a mental. I literally
you
say
just mentally check out?
I do it, and that's my back piece because I know our schedules and everything. And then, like I said, I want something that's so passion history revolved of a piece, that I think there have to be one or a few people that work on it over a period of like a 4 or 5 day period to just be something really cool for a project too. I think for some people, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm gonna have to find people. I've got to find some artists that have a style and can go out of their style, but more so have the same style of passion for tattooing as I do.
Love it.
You know, and like if it's not, if I'll die without one, if I don't feel like somebody ever gives me that same passionate feeling. You know what I mean? Like I ain't got somebody that's gonna that just sees like, because that's what that piece has to be. It has to be the history and the evolution and the passion of tattooing all in one piece. That's what I want on my back, and that's why I don't have it, because I don't even know what that symbolizes right now. Because to me, it symbolizes so much of everything when I think of tattooing. That I mean, what am I going to get a picture of my kids and everything I have, or something like, you know what I mean? Because that's what tattooing symbolizes. It means so much. It's all those things combined. So like, I have no idea what I would even get. Like, it would just be a world of.
Maybe leaving it blank, saying it's all encompassing, might be the best artistic expression you could have.
Less is more.
This
is the minimalist approach.
Everything.
Yeah, I went with the minimalist approach, and I just had to put this clear on there, and this clear.
You've heard of blackout, right? This is clear out.
This is cleared out.
Yeah.
You see all the freckles?
No, I promise one thing, you're being funny about that. And I was tattooing out of state, and I had a bottle of just like some witch hazel sitting there, and we were being stupid, like talking about how, because somebody asked me about it, and I was like, we were joking about how we could tell people it was clear, and then we put that in after, but it cost more. And somebody slightly listening heard the conversation, and she's like, "What? They got cleared?" And we're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Really?" And the funny thing was, because we're making a conversation about how somebody's dumb enough to believe that if we told them, and she only had part of the conversation. So she's like, "They really have that?"
It's like shellac, baby, makes it all shine. You ready for your top layer?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it would be like we talked fun, you know, meet someone in a studio or maybe a tattoo studio. You see like the styles changing, whether you know through the art and how the tattoo is applied, and then on that tattoo of the guy in the chair and the tattoo artist, they have tattoos that are different styles. I had one of our artists for her apprenticeship at the shop. She did. I said we made them do art challenges, so I wanted the evolution of tattoo machines. And you have to come to the shop and see this piece. A girl named Tall Artist on Instagram. Check her out. She's amazing. Sierra Mulligan, her name's Tall Artist on Instagram. She did the evolution of tattoo machines for me. And just something like that. If you've seen this picture, it would kind of explain in a similar thing of, because she drew the first machine to, you know, from the pen to the machine, and it just transitions down. But each one of them has a hand, you know, without a glove, tattooing it first. And then, you know, you just have to see this piece, but that would be my back piece, would be something that shows that evolution of tattooing, and then, you know, a journey. Like, I mean, how do you symbolize something as amazing as Don's journey there in a back piece? Because that's what tattooing is for me over 30 years is, you know, and then you try to evolve what it does. Think in 30 years, how many people I've tattooed that it's had something to impact them, like his life, and how meaningful that's been. So you're trying to encompass how special it is for him and 50 other people, and what it's done for you. And, you know, I mean, some of those stories, sometimes like my clients will come in and I'm going through something and don't even realize I sit down and tattoo, and they start telling me something that goes exactly with what I'm going for. So like, tattooing is just, I mean, I keep referring back to your story, but I'm almost still mind blown by your story, because it's that crazy. Like, you know, people jumped on, and it was just that magical that people wanted that moment. So putting that in a back piece, I don't even know. Would you want to be the art
journey, to say the least? It's one of the most amazing things I ever experienced in my life.
When I think about your back piece idea, Chris, it brings me back to, I believe we talked about this in Tampa, but the Diego Rivera, like the Great Hall at the Detroit Art Museum, where it's like, as you walk around the hall, it lays out like a timeline. And I feel like there's gotta be some kind of element of timeline to it.
Like the streets of yesteryear in Cosi?
Yes, but then how do you take that timeline and then or elements of a timeline or something to imply a timeline, but then how do you take that and how do you like Chris was saying, how do you add in like the spiritual transformations that go on, and like, you know, the changes and growth that, like, when you're sitting and you're getting tattooed and it's a tattoo you hate, like you experience things like on an interpersonal level. And, you know, through being a tattooer, there's all these accidental gifts that have been given to us. So like, how do you capture that? How do you capture that story in one picture? And this is one of the challenges, like being a tattooer, is how do you take that story and put it into just one picture when there's so many important things, like important facets of the idea.
I wish more people, and it's nice when clients get involved with us more, like Don being on here talking and learning more about tattoo artists in this side, and this program in general being so important, is because there is so much importance to, as a tattooer, how much of that's dumped on us to like put all that together, that it'd be nice if people valued us as not just people who color pictures. We're not Ben sitting there coloring our coloring book, you know.
That's right.
We're actually, you know, we have some work involved in this. So it's nice. Like, how do you encompass that magic? You know what I mean? I literally think tattooing.
I used to love when the brief time that I managed a shop, and people would come in and be like, I need 3 birds, all different colors. I need 4 flowers. They all have to be different. They need to be these specific colors for my individual birth months of my second niece's granddaughters. And then I need 4 bunny rabbits, 2 of them brown, 1 of them white, the other one you can pick.
Yeah, people can give
creative liberties.
Some creative liberties.
And I would love if we could do that, like here on my forearm.
Yeah,
but only half.
That's
only half of my forearm. It can only be this big because.
Well, see, that's what I feel. I feel like you're just making fun of me there, because that's what I feel like when I talk about my back piece. I'm like, you know, how does it encompass the, you know, the history of tattooing, which I love, my journey of tattooing, my journey with my clients, the fact that, like, you know, I'm 45, I've been tattooing for 30 years. So like, it's pretty much who I am. It's not what I do. And then, you know, my daughter, Sierra, tattooing, my youngest daughter, Macy, getting into her apprenticeship. My middle daughter's
So I've got an idea. So there's this photo, my buddy, Sam, the Mexican, Sam, the Mexican. There's a lot of Sams in my life, so we differentiate.
That's probably not politically correct to say it that way right now.
That's how he introduced himself to me.
Yeah, it's his preferred nomenclature. It's like, I
picked it. We didn't. It's okay.
Yeah, he prefers Sam the Mexican. So, anyways,
I got to prove before I said it like that.
Oh man, where was I going with the story before I got derailed by? Oh, so Sam the Mexican and I, he was briefly doing an apprenticeship with me. We were only a few months in, and then he ended up getting like a contracting job. So he started learning masonry. But anyways, long story short, we've got a picture where I'm holding one of my like Welker rotary machines, and he's holding the clip cord, and they're just about to touch, but it's like the creation of Adam, but it's just our hands and the tattoo machine with the cord. So we could start with that, like start with your favorite tattoo machine, or like your first really nice tattoo machine, like your old classic coil machine, like whatever is your favorite. And then have like, maybe we could do like your hand holding it and then Sierra's hand holding the cord, or vice versa. Or maybe you're plugging the cord into her holding a machine, however it works, but we could have 2 hands.
Yeah. That's
the
funny.
machine, the power.
We were just talking about a picture like Sierra was talking about for the booth, because she's going to have her own booth now at the shop. And she said, we have a picture of her tattooing me tattooing her tattooing me, and then my other daughter, Macy, tattooing her. And then her daughter, my granddaughter, actually 9 years old, tattooed her mom. So we could do like, you know, me tattooing my daughter or my granddaughter, and vice just up the line, like her tattooing me.
That's crazy.
The multi-generational.
That's
I love
crazy.
it.
I know, I'm so excited. I even bought like my granddaughter the Tattooing A to Z Huck Spalding book. You know, she said, Mom and Macy said that's irrelevant now. I'm like, that book is not irrelevant. They better learn something, because they had to read it and they think it's like, it's so old school, but there's a lot of important information in that book. You know what I mean? Like, that book even talks about marketing yourself and you value in yourself. Like, if you read Huck Spalding A to Z, that book will tell you like about charging people and stuff. You know, even back then, like it was a that was a point in the book, which, you know, a lot of books don't even point that out really, but that's important to know your value.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because if you're getting paid your value, then you can afford to do your craft, which then you can do a good job at it. You know, you're not doing 5 other things trying to afford to do your craft.
Not to peek into next week, but the gentleman we have coming on next week is going to be speaking a lot about value and value-based pricing and elevating yourself to get your worth and how to run your businesses that way. So stream in, join in.
That actually, I think I've been talking with him online here recently about different stuff and what's guy with the dreadlocks, right? I can't think of his name right now.
No, Denny's got no hair. He wears the cap all the time.
No hair.
But it is a very it's a very relative point that a lot of people are shifting towards making, and you get paid what you're worth. Get paid what you're worth, not what people think you're worth.
Even your deposit, and and explaining to clients what a deposit goes towards, so they understand why your deposit is not $5, why it's $150 or $200, because all your time is worth money. And all my artists are like, what? Like, I'm like, yeah, like you're charging for your time of designing that. Let's be realistic. What's the shortest amount of time you could say you have in one of your tattoos, Fawn? Like design time, pre-tattoo.
Oh, I mean, by the time we finish our consultation, I'm an hour and a half in. So consultation, we're already an hour and a half.
That's nothing pen to paper. That's no art.
Yeah,
that's conversation.
I'm saying if we want to charge for our brainstorming time, like I think in reality, and I don't always do this. Sometimes I do for new clients, but like, honestly, I think half a day's worth of work is what we should charge for our session. Like whatever your session rate or whatever your hourly rate is, like if it's going to be a 3-hour piece, just make half of it your deposit and then half of it's already paid. Like it eliminates budget issues for a collector. I don't always do that, but sometimes it actually makes things easier to have a big deposit. You know what I mean?
Well, like I do $150 deposit anyway, because I figure I have about 2 hours minimum in every design before I start. If you take the time of research stuff, designing something new for each client, because I'm not copying shit, so designing something new, and then you come into the shop, you got, get paperwork, you got to, do your setup, which is 15-20 minutes to get all your stuff set up. You have equipment. You got your ink, your needles, your caps, your lap pad, your paper towels, gloves that have tripled in cost since COVID. You have all your product, and then you have, after they leave, about 30 minutes in tear down.
Yep.
So my deposit is $150, and that has nothing to do with the price of when we start tattooing you. When you come in that day, that's when that payment starts differently, because the $150 is burned up between my design time, equipment, setup, and tear down. And I explained that though. And so a lot of people don't have a problem with that. And that's again, value in your time.
So the way you do it, your deposit is actually more like your art fee. And I think that's totally fair. And as long as you explain it like that, I think that's totally fair. But like for me, like, let's say I've got, I schedule only one client a day. So if show, if I only have $150 deposit and show me, I still didn't even come close to making up for that day. So that's where it's I think
that is where
I think half is for big sessions like this. I think half is not unreasonable to like hold us both accountable.
Like to larger pieces where, right now I have a 2-hour minimum, which I might bump up a little bit just to try to put some more work to my daughter and stuff she can handle. And with my time being limited, but I have a 2-hour minimum. So it sucks if they miss it, but I'm usually scheduling 1 to 2 people a day. And with my back being like it's over last year, it's usually been 1 person a day. So it does screw me out of anywhere from, $600 a day to, $150 versus $600. Plus I got the $150 a month ago when we made the deposit. So today I spent that money on the time, and that's where I value my time as far as setting up, because at least I got paid for getting ready for you. But if I was going to do a larger piece, like, for setting up to start your back piece, and you're telling me you're going to sit for 8 hours, because I have an artist right now, and he does $100 deposit, but he does half and full day sessions, and people stand him up all the time or last minute cancel. And it's like, dude, I bet you get $400 from a motherfucker that show up or call you within
Yep.
40 hours. Long pay.
They'll at least communicate when they've got more money on the line. If somebody doesn't worry, if they don't care about losing that $50 and they're short on money, they'll just be like, well, I'll chalk it up and put another deposit down. But if
You know what's
if
great?
they've paid for half of the session, they're at least going to communicate and be like, hey, I need to reschedule because I don't want to lose that much money, especially if you're clear and you're like, deposits are non-refundable, but they go towards either your art fee or they go towards the portion of your tattoo, or you know what I mean? Like whichever system you have, like.
Yeah, mine is like, if you give me, a 48-hour notice, which is still kind of short on us, but I know that things can happen. If you give me 48-hour notice, then your deposit I still use that time for designing, and I'm still going to use it for setup and tear down. So as long as you contact me, you don't have to put another deposit down to get another date. You know what I mean? Because you've already paid for your art time and everything. So I didn't waste that time and everything. So that kind of
That's
keeps
fair.
them.
So listen to this conundrum I've had, and like I'm due to hear from this guy soon. So I got to figure out how I'm going to deal with it next time he hits me up. So I've got a guy, he's always been like notoriously, like he's always got a lot of drama and stuff in his life. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. Like as a person, he's fine. I don't personally have any problems with him. I enjoy him. But as far as scheduling, he's a nightmare to keep like an appointment with. Like we've had one appointment that he rescheduled 6 times. And then we'll have appointments and day of, I don't hear from him. So he's the only person that like, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to need you to go ahead. He was the first person that I asked to start paying for half of his session up front. And
Now,
then he no-showed.
If
Well,
you
then
called
then he no-showed. And then I'm like, so what do I do now? Like, next time I schedule with you, you wasted my time and all of my other clients' time. So next time I'm going to have to charge you your whole session in advance when we schedule. Like when your money hits my square, I will schedule you. So we do that, Chris. We do that. He's paid in full. His session is paid for in full. Okay. Still no shows me. Now what do I do?
Stop scheduling.
Well, we had
I
to
mean,
talk. Like he's
well,
the
I
only
feel like,
client that I've ever had to be like, I don't know what to do with you. Like, I want to work on you. I want to complete these pieces, but like, you're the one that keeps canceling on me, not vice versa. And I don't know, like, how do I get you to value my time if you don't even value like your own money or hard work or whatever? Like, I don't want to just take your money just because.
Right.
Like, what do I do here? So I've got that funny conundrum that's probably going to creep back up soon.
that's a hard one, because I get irritated with people not valuing time. We're just like, because really it's not even my time, because whatever, hell, I could use a day off more realistically, but I wouldn't have took it off. I would have scheduled the next person who's waiting because your asshole didn't show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's where it's
like,
disrespectful to my other
disrespectful to your
collectors.
client.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. That's a rough one. I mean, and that's why I also like in my email when they pay deposits and stuff like that, I'm real thorough on explaining it, because like I want them to know, if you don't show up, you don't get the money. Like, don't be coming in acting like you do or questioning it or
Right.
that shit. Like, you didn't show up.
You knew ahead of time how this works.
Well, and here's another thing I tell my clients, like if it's my first consultation with somebody, I say, all you've got to do is let me know that we need to make a change. I won't even ask questions, because sometimes I think people might be embarrassed to be like, I don't have the money, or this came up or that like they might be embarrassed for whatever reason they have to cancel. But I put it out there, like, all you got to do is just let me know that we need to postpone it, and then for how long we need to postpone it. I won't ask why, because it's none of my business. I don't care. Not to be like, I don't care, but like, I don't care. If we need to postpone, just communicate with me. And I won't even ask why. And I feel like sometimes just letting people know that makes it a little bit easier. Like I'm not even going to ask why, just give me 2 or 3 days notice.
We can, what's the right word? Together agreed to cancel my last appointment. Like, just nah.
It was kind of like, you guys, you just want to hang out and smoke some weed and like talk. Are you tired and sore?
Yeah,
I'm tired and sore.
It doesn't sound like fun. Nah, this is not today.
I've had that with clients where they've shown up before though, and like they're just so frazzled. And usually you guys know, I'll sit and I smoke with my clients and kind of like get on the same level. But like I'm not saying it happens often, but it definitely happens occasionally where like they show up and it's like, do you just need to talk? Like,
Yeah.
let's just go sit in my van and smoke a whole bunch of weed for the next few hours.
Yeah.
Like,
I've definitely gone to tattoo sessions. I went for a session with my back with Rich Cook and sat down, and he was half hour, 40 minutes in, and I was face down on the table, and I remember turning my shoulder and looking him dead in the eyes, and I was like, bro, I'm done. Like, I'm not in the mood. I've been in a bad mood all day. This isn't the vibe. Like, I'm pissed off every
He's like,
second.
let's go ride golf carts.
He did. He looked me dead in the face. He's like, all right, let me finish this and I'll rinse out. Like, let's go. Like, we did. I think we went and got something to eat. So, like, it's okay. Be vocal. You're a human being.
That's one of the
Everybody has
reasons,
emotions.
like,
It's allowed.
an additional reason that I like to remind people that, like, our tattoo collection is a journey. It's not a race. You know, there's no, I mean, there are tattoo competitions and awards,
And
but
I
like,
am in a race.
but like, well, you are, but that's you. But it's one of those things that, like, sometimes the dominoes just don't fall quite right. And on those days, you just kind of got to go with the flow and kind of listen to universe and just take the day for what it is, because
It's okay for plans to change.
yeah, I feel like some of my clients that we have had, like, let's call them a mental wellness day rather than a tattoo day, when we just sit and smoke and talk. Like, I've talked to clients. I've got one client in particular, and I've been working on her for years. I know her husband, you know, I've watched her kids grow up, and she was just like in a funk. And I mean, we went ahead and started her session. We started like 2 hours late, but by the time we got to work in, you know, I'm talking to her, and, you know, she's just filling me in on what's going on. And she's letting me know that there's all this distance between her and her husband. And she's telling me why. And I'm like, you know, you guys do have a lot going on right now. Like, all of these are valid things, but they're just falling on you at once. Like, not a single problem, not a single one of these problems is a deal breaker. They all just happen to land at the same time, and you guys can't control that.
Right.
And you just got to talk to each other.
Right.
I was like, you got to remember he's not a mind reader, and you got to remind him that you're not a mind reader. By the end of their session.
Liz are working on that. I think sometimes I think our customers come in and it helps us too. And I've had customers come in and be like, man, you seem like you got a lot on your mind. So you want to go grab something to eat, man, instead of working on me at night? And I'm like, actually, dude, that'd be great. You know what I mean?
Yep. Sometimes it's perfect. But like, by the end of that session in particular, they went from like, one was sleeping at the house, the other was staying at their mom's. And by the end of the session, they were back to normal. Like, this isn't so bad. We just needed to talk. And like, I didn't say anything profound. I didn't really get into their business. Just I knew enough to be like, neither one of you has done anything to like hurt the other one. You're just really going through it right now, and be nice to each other. Like, that's all. Just be nice to each other. You know, like, the distance happens sometimes.
No, I'm just kidding.
This wasn't Ben. This wasn't a Ben story. But that's another one of those like special things, is we're not therapists, but we are. And, you know, your shop's name is Ink Therapy, and it's just perfect. It's, you know, it's the epitome of why we collect tattoos. It's the epitome of why we are addicted to doing tattoos. And
we lost Chris.
Well,
but yeah, that is part of it. I mean, a lot of times people are like, well, what does that tattoo mean? And I'm like, it means I like cool fucking tattoos.
Yeah, sometimes it's a milestone. It's not about
But
what the tattoo is. It's
not the
where your
image.
life was.
Right.
Yeah.
I was doing this in this particular time. I was a chef at this restaurant when I got this. I was doing this at that place. I was in this city, in this state. So
I keep looking over at Don's collection, and like, as I see all the little tattoos peeking out everywhere, like, I'd love to know like each story behind each picture. And that's where, like, for you, every time you look at a tattoo, you instantly remember the person. You remember your conversations. You remember where you were. You remember what the weather was like that day.
Weather's not so much, but I remember what the tattoo was for and why we got it and where we were at.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is like the whole details of all the details of the whole experience come back up when you look at that. So like, even if these scrapbooks of art that we carry, even if the art doesn't have anything to do with why we got it or where we were, it still marks that moment. And that's pretty special.
It does. It maps out the exact words and description of that's what it's for. It's your commitment to that time. It's your
Oh, yeah.
commitment to that.
It's a timestamp of your life.
Yep. And it's hard to explain to some people that don't get it. They're like, well, what do you mean? You got a boat. You're not a sailor. I'm like, yeah, but that's a cool fucking tattoo. And at that point in my life, I was doing X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter what language is.
All right. Well, we lost Chris a few minutes ago. Should we go ahead and wrap up? Do you think? We've had a pretty rad talk.
Yeah.
Don, I really appreciate you taking the time to drive down and join
Not a
us.
problem.
I really, really appreciate it. I
Absolutely.
love all of your motivations for collecting. I love the way that you're able to connect and touch different people. And there's something special about the tattoo experience. And in that experience is we're not alone.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether we have matching tattoos or not, we're all sharing that experience. And I think that's pretty special. Yeah.
100%.
So you said on 420, you're drawing the name for your 420th
Yep.
tattoo.
How do people like, follow, share, get involved with what you do? Give us your deets.
On all my social media, I don't care if it's TikTok or Facebook or what it is, Don, how you would spell it, and Caskey, Caskey. It's the same thing on all of it. You can Google me and you'll see quite a few different pictures and news articles from around the country and whatnot.
You've got
Amazing.
a lot of links on your Facebook page
Yep.
too. Like
Yep.
you can just go link by link and
Yep.
see all the different coverage and stuff.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yep.
There's a lot of them that aren't on there, but a lot of them are there.
Amazing.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so-
rad. Well, I definitely want to keep track with you as you continue on your journey.
Appreciate it.
I would love to
Absolutely.
keep track of your experiences. I'd love to keep track of who your 420th tattoo is and celebrate that achievement with you.
Appreciate it.
Anytime you're in Columbus on a Thursday, stop by, say hey.
Okay.
You're always welcome on the show. Love to hear you, hang out with you.
I've not gotten any tattoos in Columbus as of yet. And you're not that awful far away, honestly. So
Perfect.
I
We'll
mean,
make it work.
if not
know
the
a few tattoos.
420th, we can get some more ink on you in this building. We can make that
You don't
happen.
mind me wearing Wolverine stuff, do you?
Not at all.
So here's the thing, Don. Here's the thing. I grew up in Michigan, so I happen to know for a fact that Spartans eat Wolverines for breakfast. But
I don't sports ball. You can wear
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you
yeah.
want. But
I truthfully don't sport ball either. But in college, I did go to a few of the Spartans games.
There you
and
go.
I followed some of the basketball a little bit,
Nice.
but it's been years since I followed any sport ball at all.
we're not hat biased around here. You can do whatever.
That's all
No,
right.
I did think it was nice that you and Chris were matching and
I
we
know,
got,
I
got the
loved
green
it.
on.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
it's like we accidentally coordinated today,
Yeah.
all black and green.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. New uniforms.
Now, one more small tidbit before I get off here, or before we get off here. I'm in the process, there's like 6 of them around the country, but I'm gonna be donating my skin to a museum.
Are you going to do
Awesome.
that? That's
Yes,
awesome.
and they're
What kind of hoops do you have to go through to set that up? Because we
I'm-
talk about it often, but it's one of those just hypothetical things.
Well, and that's, yes, it's like donating your body to science kind of.
Mhm.
And then they, when you pass away, they say, okay, they come pick you up and you got to keep track of where you're going. So
Mhm.
if you do pass away, that they know to be called first. They take you where you're gonna go and they skin you and tan you like a cow.
Wow.
Crazy, man.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, we're gonna dig into that next time you're on the show because
Yeah.
I want more info.
Not a problem.
Definitely
Not a
want more info.
All right. All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for
Chris,
joining.
we lost you a few minutes ago, but thank you for joining
Love you,
us.
brother.
I'll
Yes,
text
thanks.
you as well. Don, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ben, thank you always.
Love being here.
Viewers, watchers, listeners, we'll see you next week.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Oh,
Thank you. Fawn.
thanks, me.
You're our fawn.
Thanks. I'm trying hard.
Later, homies.
See ya.
See
Have
ya.
a good week.